Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. That feels really strange to say, and I feel like this has been a very long time coming, but here we are. I thought what better way to start this whole thing off than to do a more in-depth tutorial of a very classically me look. Dewy skin, juicy lips, and glittery eyes. So yeah, let's get straight into it. I have extremely unruly eyebrows, so I always start out by just running some micellar water through my eyebrows before I put any gel in them or anything. This is to help them keep put all day. This has been my go-to eyebrow product for absolute years, and it's the Got To Be Glued hair gel. I just decant it into a little pot and just run it through my eyebrows with a spoolie, and honestly, nothing works quite like this. One of my absolute must-haves is a wire brow comb. Again, if you have super thick eyebrows, this is a godsend, and I just use it to flatten down the tail of my brow. I like the front to still be quite bushy, but I do want the back to stay put. So that is the only thing that I literally flatten to my forehead. So I'm just priming with my Saie Super Glowy Gel. This is the shade Rose Glow, and I like the slight pink hue that this has. This is such a lovely product to prime with. I like juicy, plump, glowy skin, and I feel like this is just such a lovely sheen where it's not too intense metallic Tin Man, but it just does make your skin look beautiful. A really key step is to just let that primer sink into your skin for at least a minute or two. The number one reason that your makeup will pill is because you're still mixing wet formulas and everything hasn't had a chance to settle into the skin. So just give it that breathing room and I promise it'll look incredible. Next, I'm going with one of my favorite base products of all time. This is the danessamyricksbeautylurring, what is this? Yummy Skin Blurring Balm. I'm in the shade 3.5, and obviously I'm just matching it to my neck slightly. This is so beautiful. It is more of like a natural satin finish, but I think by using a glowy product underneath, you can make it a tiny bit more radiant. But again, I just very much think it's one of those your skin but better type products. Anything that Danessa does is just incredible. She is one of my favorite makeup artists and brands of all time. Also, a quick shout out to this brush. This is the Big Brush by Saie, and it is my favorite product to do my base with. I just love how soft and big and fluffy it is, and for somebody that doesn't like a ton of coverage, this is beautiful because it just diffuses that product onto your skin. It's really hard to remember to look here and not look here because I want to look at myself, but I can't. I need to speak to you guys. Another holy grail for me is any form of color corrector. This one is from Kosas and it's in the shade Illusion. Color correcting makes the biggest difference, and I also feel like you need less concealer because you've already corrected a lot of the darkness on your under eyes. Also, I have never had a problem using this under any concealer. You could literally just leave it there. I'm not going to. I'm actually going in with a new concealer to me today. I saw a girl use this on TikTok and she was beautiful and her skin looked beautiful. It's the EsteeLauderurist Soft Touch Brightening Concealer. Oh, skin sealer, so I feel like it must have skincare in it. The shade is pretty good for me. This is 2N. I feel like it is maybe a shade too dark, but I don't mind too much. I don't overly like having a super bright under eye. I like to blend out my forehead, my nose, and my chin first because I don't overly want a ton of coverage there. And then I blend out the lower part of my eye down here, leaving that top bit just to dry a little bit so that I get more coverage. And then I just like to drag it up here. I don't always put concealer here, but I'm gonna do like as if I was doing my full glam. So if I was full glamming, I would put it there. I think that sat really nicely on my under eyes. Obviously it has just gone on and I don't have a ton of wrinkles because I'm only 26, but initially I'm liking how it's sitting, I'm liking how it's looking. It also doesn't feel super heavy on my under eye, which is a win for me. Contouring to me is probably the most important step in my whole routine because I have such a round face, and this does cost a lot of money, but it's so beautiful, and it's the WestmanAtelierit contour. If you have a round face like me, this is a fantastic contour placement for us. If you have a different face shape to me, go and find somebody on TikTok, Google it, whatever, find your face shape and find the best way to contour for you to accentuate your features. Because I have a round face, it's pretty much equidistant the whole way around, so I want to give the illusion of elongating it, so I don't put anything here because that would close that part of my face. And I'm just blending that out with my Makeup by Mario F4 brush, You can just see how unbelievably creamy and easy to blend that is. It's just a dream, to be honest. Also, always remember you want to push up and not drag down because you're trying to create a shadow and lift the face. I then like to flip it over and use the teeny tiny side for my lip, my nose, and whatever this is called. Just going with Saie bronze in the shade Swim, just to add a tiny bit more warmth back into my skin. I don't want anything too crazy because I'm going to go in with quite a warm toned blush, but just anywhere that the sun would naturally hit, and to also just help that contour melt back into my skin a bit more. Also running that over my eyes. Not a new product, but a new shade to me. This is the Huda Beauty blush filter in the shade Watermelon Pop. And again, I'm going to apply that on the back of my hand and work it into a brush. That way you can kind of control how much pigment you're getting on the skin, and it's also a more diffused airbrush look. I also like to put it quite close to my under eye and then drag it up. Again, I have a round face and that is quite flattering. I don't mind accentuating the fact that I have a round face. And again, I do enjoy blushing my nose and my forehead. Gosh, I love this colour. I don't know why I've not used it before. Just going back with that concealer brush, no additional product, and I'm just blending. So now one of the most crucial steps for me is setting every single cream with a corresponding powder, and that is how you make your makeup last. First of all, I set my under eyes, and I'm just going to quickly blend that concealer again on my under eye just with a finger, because if anything has just naturally settled into any lines, I don't want to set those into place. I'm just taking the Kosas powder and then setting like that. Same thing this side. And I'm going to flip this brush over, stamp on the bulk, and then again just everywhere that I put that concealer. I really never go too heavy with powder bronzer because I have a thing about potentially looking orange, but this is my favourite powder bronzer ever, and it's the All Hours Hyper Bronze from YSL, because also look at that gorgeous packaging. This is one of my favourite new products, and it's the Kosas Shiny Objects Highlighter. I love to apply highlighter with my finger because I can get it to be really precise and exactly where I want it to be. And I love to take it in this sort of like 3 shape here. I feel like it gives a gorgeous illusion of like kind of being a bit sweaty, but like, I don't know, I like that. And then this part here, Cupid's bow, and a tiny bit on my chin. But I'm gonna do more on my brow bone because it's me. I just find that is such a beautiful, like, glossy highlight. So I like to do my highlight before I do my blush because then I feel like my blush will diffuse the highlight, so it's not giving 2016. I'm gonna take this one here, which is Dolce Vita by NARS. I'm gonna tap the excess on my hand so I don't get too much, and then just everywhere that I put that cream. You want to be slightly terrified of how much blush you have on before you leave the house because it's going to be the first thing to fade. So you do want to look like a clown before you leave. I also think by doing the blush second, you can't really tell where anything starts and stops on my face. Very, very Nina Park-esque, but I just think it's the best way to make your makeup look natural. My makeup isn't natural and I don't want it to be, but it just looks more flawless, finessed, I don't know. And now we're going in with a loose powder, again on the under eyes, because my makeup will not budge for a whole night. So a double set for me is very necessary. I also know a lot of people hate warm tones these days. I don't, I think they suit me a lot. And even if I'm gonna do a cool toned eyeshadow, I always still will wear a warm toned blush or a warm toned lip. You have to sort of just do your makeup how you want to do it and how you think it suits you the best. Okay, and after all that powder, one of the most important steps in my routine is a hydrating spray like this, and it will melt all those powders back into your skin and just make it look more lifelike and less powdery. This one is actually new to me. It's just the urbandecaynighter, but it's a watermelon one and it smells delicious. Putting back on all my moles, and then if you tap over them, it'll just look a bit better. And I do this with an eyebrow pencil. I do this with an eyebrow pen multi-use. And now the bit that everyone's been waiting for, the eyes. If you want to get the most out of your glitters, you need to layer them. I'm going to start out with the cream shadow. This is Peach Bum from Urban Decay. I'm just running that all over the lid, and to be honest, kind of everywhere because it's such a sheer colour. I'm just going to give a basic wash. And I'm just patting that out with a finger. And the same thing underneath. You can absolutely do this with a colourful stick, something deeper, but just for the purposes of today's look, I wanted something that was essentially the same colour as my skin. And now the fun bit, we're gonna set that cream with the glitter, and it's really gonna give this something to stick to. This is the Unleash Sheer number 2 Olive Brown. I'm back and forth in these two. They're just shimmery eyeshadows. Putting that everywhere. And you can see the difference between how intense that is and how intense that is. Now just to add more shape into the eye, I'm going to take a pencil and I'm just going to warm it up on the back of my hand. If you have blue or green eyes, this colour is perfect because it'll really make them pop. And this is Versatile Chestnut from Makeup Forever. And just wiggle that on the outer lower third of my lash line. Do the same thing up top and the same thing here. And again, blending that out with a finger. Can you see it's just added more shape back into my eye? Sometimes I will just do this with no eyeshadow because it just makes me feel a bit more put together. And finally, I'm going to take something super chunky. These are danessamyricksbeautylurring Chrome Flakes and these are in the shade Confetti. I'm just going to take these onto a brush because I do want these to be more diffused and focus them right in the centre. And I do like to pull mine all the way up to my brow bone. Obviously we have to curl the lashes. I'm actually also going to put some of those flakes just here, sort of in the inner corner, and just pulling them down slightly. Nothing much, nothing crazy, just for an extra pop. No, I don't know when to stop, ever. More is always more around here. Again, with a look like this, I just love brown mascara. This one is from heroinemakever and I adore it. Like, when people say that they aren't wearing mascara anymore, I am. So to sort of keep everything cohesive, I'm going to use the same pencil that I used on my eyes on my lips. I am just going to sanitize that real quick, but yes. I have used this quite a lot and I have so many different pencils that the fact that I keep coming back to this is a testament to how incredible it is. The best way to overline your lips is just to overline the cupid's bow here and underneath here, and then just follow your natural lip line to connect them, and it will give you that sort of pouty look and look not crazy. And then to just help blend that, just flip the other side of your line around and just blur those edges. I'm now just going to take one of these crystal butter things. What are these called? Crystal butter, and this is the shade Cinnawitch. It's basically like a glittery lip balm, and this is from Half Magic. If you want anything glittery, Half Magic, incredible. Donny Davy, who founded Half Magic, was the lead makeup artist on Euphoria, so incredible credentials for all things glittery. I love how that looks quite intimidating in the bullet, but it has just a lovely sheer metallic finish on the lip. It's very comfortable, love. And because that is not glossy enough for me, red lip tint. This smells so good. This is the shade Lemontini, and it honestly smells like lemon curd. I absolutely love it. It does have like a vague gold sparkle in it, but you obviously can't see that because of the lip I put underneath. And here is the final look. I absolutely love this, and this is for sure something that I would wear every day. I know that might be kind of crazy to some people, but I like to wear makeup and I like to look kind of like an ethereal fairy everywhere that I go. Thank you for watching my first full tutorial. Thank you for being here. If there's anything in particular you would like to see, please let me know. Or if you like this kind of style of videos, again, please let me know. Any feedback would be much appreciated. And yeah, I hope you have a good week, a good month, a good year, and I'll see you next time.